हेलो फ्रेंड्स, आज मैं आपके साथ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डायमेंशन पर बात करने वाला हूँ। तो आज मैं जो वीडियो बनाने जा रहा हूँ उसका डिस्कशन डिटेल्स होगा कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डायमेंशन ऑन डिसेंट्रलाइजेशन। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं। द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल डायमेंशन। द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन डील्स विद द सब्जेक्ट ऑफ लोकल गवर्नमेंट in its 7th schedule under Article 246 of the Indian Constitution. Local government legislation is reserved to the states. The entry is very wide and empowers the state legislature to legislate with respect to local government. That is to say, the Constitution and empowers the municipal corporation, improvement of trust and district boards, mining settlement authorities and other local authorities for the purpose of local self-government or village administration. The state government can also confer such power, including the power of taxation and to locate or local authority, as it is itself possess the only constitutional provision which can be invoked is the presidential veto over the state legislation, which has been referred by the state governor as for example. Such a veto was used with respect to Madhya Pradesh legislation, which made membership of the Zilla Parishad entirely nominated by the government and restricted the voting rights for the panchayats. Accordingly, the bill was drafted in accordance with the more democratic norms in Vajpayee 1995. In this context, it is also important to refer the directive principles of state policy that enacted some of the enabled Gandhian principles. The Constitution 73rd and 74th Constitution Amendment Bill draw its inspiration from Article 40, 46, 47, 48 and 48A of the Indian Constitution. Article 40 deals with the organization of the village panchayats. The promise held out is that the state shall take steps organize village panchayats and endow them with such power and authority as may be necessary to enable them to function as units of self-government. Article 46 deals with the promotion of educational and economic interest of scheduled caste, scheduled tribe and other weaker section. Article 47 enunciate the duty of the state to raise the level of nutrition and the standard of living of its people and the improvement of the public health among its primary duties, and its particular to take steps for preserving the improving the breeds and prohibiting the slaughter of cows and calves and other milk and draught cattle. As Article 48, the state enjoined to endeavor to organize agriculture, animal husbandry on modern and scientific lines, and shall in particular take steps for preserving and improving the breeds and prohibiting the slaughter of cows and calves and other milk and draught cattle. Article 48A stipulates the state shall endeavor to protect, improve the environment and safeguard the forest and wildlife of the country. To that end, local self-government is considered the appropriate level for bottom-up policy making, delegation of power and authority to local administration. Now, we are moving for the second point, that is, move for constitutional status. The movement for vesting panchayat bodies with the constitutional status gained momentum, particularly in the period of 1985 to 1992, with initiative provided by them Prime Minister late Mr. Rajiv Gandhi. 5 workshops of district magistrates and collective were organized between the December 1987 and June 1988 at different places in the country of the genetic theme of the responsive administration. The broad consensus emerging out of these deliberations was that democratic framework at the local level with the constitutional legitimacy was essential to develop the institutions as a responsive instrument of planning and development at the local level. This was essential for bottom-up policy planning, which is the defined goal representative democracy. It has been observed for some time that rural and urban local bodies could not function effectively. Their growth throughout the country had been patchy and uneven. There was a lack of uniformity with respect to the institutional setup, powers and function, resources. Also, there were political administrative hurdles like political apathy with respect to the state, unwillingness on the part of the bureaucracy to share power and resources, which could be explained as partly owing to lack of trust and administrative circles regarding efficacy and legitimacy of local institutions. Main instrument representative democracy, primary actor, medium in for national building. Hence, problems like irregular election, lack of funds, frequent super sessions, and dominance of the bureaucracy continually throughout local self-government attempts at the grassroots levels. It was felt that this was so due to lack of dignity and status attendant on constitutional guarantee. It was therefore realized that constitutional status was imminent to secure timely elections, periodic and appropriate funds, avoid frequent dissolution, institute planning at all to ensure these the status of viable and responsive local bodies, especially to enable assertion to their part of their position. Vice versa, the bureaucracy which had long asserted as its rights as the prime agent of national development against the panchayat institutions, and the argument had acquired considerable weight post CDP community development programs and the subsequent shift approach in rural development strategy. In 1970, the community development program was launched in selected blocks across the country. It was ambitious, an attempt at rural development through people active participation. It promised economic and social development in the countryside. The actual achievement, however, fell far short of what was envisaged. The main reason behind the lack of success was diagnosed as failure to evoke people's participation over the reliance on the administrative machinery, which was found lacking expertise and translate policies into action plans. Establishment of grassroots democracy through the concrete measures at institutionalization of the cooperative effort at successive and spatial levels, rationally related to implementation and vantage points, was therefore considered a necessary precondition for the success of any such future ventures. This was asserted by the study team constituted under Balwant Rai Mehta and inquired into the cause behind the lack of expected success in the CDP. A three-tier model was suggested by the Balwant Rai Mehta committee, which was promptly accepted and followed up by the states. However, practice was far removed from the percept that increased cloud of local politicians was represented by both the state MLAs and the bureaucracy, which did not appreciate the ideal painting and development responsibility. Decline the PRI started its 60s, frequent suppression, irregular election, general ill attention on the part of the state government becomes order of the day. Meanwhile, paradigmatic shift was initiated in rural development strategy from the long-time goal and self-government to enhanced productivity in fertile areas through appreciation and application of science and technology, agriculture. The shift of emphasis was necessary, effected to address the imminent food crisis that plagued in India in 1960. To answer the immediate concern, the goal of the participatory democracy was, for the time being, set aside in favor of the Grow More Food campaign, which is ultimately become rallying cry and green revolution. The shift emphasis also caused the related policy shifted favor of the rich farmers who could grow more food employing modern capitalistic farming techniques away from the poor, landless, and towards richly endowed regions, fertile soil and good rainfall content, etc., which could be produce the required quantum, hence and entailing the inevitable compromise on balanced regional development to rectify the imbalances and subsequently generated as a result of the exigent policy shift. The sectoral development schemes aforesaid were launched for the benefit of the small landless farmers who had been left out in the lunch of the earlier approaches, which could be implemented by the state machinery through the bureaucracy and not the local institution. The orientation of the economy had changed from the participatory grassroots democracy, area-wise sectoral development approaches through the scheme such as the IRDP and the NREP, later integrating under the JRI, which could be implemented mainly through the instrumentality of bureaucracy Maheshwari. Hence, the pendulum shifted decisively from the newly emerged Panchayati Raj institutions following the Balwant Rai Mehta Committee report. Once again, the time-tested bureaucracy, which could once again got an opportunity and prevailing circumstances and the existing scheme of things to assert its rights and principal agency of development misstated and reinforced by the reported lack of success in Panchayati Raj institution. This has led scholars and retrospectively question the wisdom of launching and the community development program in the absence of the essential prerequisites. The community development program was the first ambitious attempt of independent India to attempt rural development with the financial backing from the USA. The focal point of development efforts was slated to be the bloc. The venture, however, did not meet the expected success. Principal reasons for failure is understood to be failure to evoke people's participation in requisite measures, along with administrative hurdles like lack of trained staff, coordination, and the power struggle between the Panchayati Raj institutions and the bureaucracy. It has, by hindsight, been criticized as a precocious attempt on the part of a nascent democracy to capture in an incredibly small time fruits of development attained in the developed states through protected evolutionary process and spinning years. Since then, such false prompting the developed states and nascent nations were also shunted as an erroneous and conception of development. This caused paradigm shift in the development of administration in what blueprint approaches whereby development packages were prepared and transferred by the developed states and developing nations with the purpose of doctoring and dictating the development therein. Exogenously was rejected principle and replaced time by time ecological approach, which is advocated taking the environmental context and comprising cultural, socio-economic and variables in particular to the country, region of which comprise the environmental shitting of public policy in the area. These factors determine the operational success of otherwise any measures. Doctored solution not work since policies are at best generic in nature. Specific feature revealed unfold on in the process of application with references, context in which they are played and requirements. Subsequently, grassroots democracy through three tier of institutional setup and local levels, the Gram Sabha, the village level and the Panchayati Samiti at the block level and the Jila Parishad at the district level was envisaged and stressing fundamentally policy and participation in administration, articulated local needs and factor same into policy and correct the balance of power which had titled and unfairly towards bureaucracy. In the post-CTP phase, the Janata government came to power and attempted a fresh initiative constituting the Ashok Mehta Committee. The report articulated need constitutional status, PRI, for long-term viability. Thereafter, the issue was lost in political base studies in the period of 1985 and 1992. The Congress government under the Prime Minister of Rajiv Gandhi introduced draft legislation in the 64th and 65th Constitution Amendment. The bill lapsed due to the stiff opposition in the Rajya Sabha. It was constructed a pernicious attempt to subvert democracy on the part of the local institution and non-Congress ruled states. Thereafter, Janata government came to power in December 1989 election and introduced a fresh legislation which to lapse because of dissolution of the Lok Sabha. Fresh election 1991 brought Congress back to power under the leadership of P.V. Narasimha Rao. Subsequently, 73 and 74 amendment bills were introduced and passed in December 1992. By the Bajpayee in 1995, local institutions are now envisaged as three-tier development agencies. Significant innovation, district planning committee, which would institutionalize the development planning, and the micro-level requirement of area-based spatial planning, which had been expressed for some time, has been addressed. Requirement integrated rural urban planning has also been addressed via new institutions. The intent is clear, and the acts of local bodies are to be developed into agencies for socio-economic planning and not just passive instruments for planning and implementation as had been till then 10th plan 2002 and 2007. तो दोस्तों, तो ये रहा आज का टॉपिक। अगर आपको ये वीडियो अच्छा लगा हो तो इसे शेयर ज़रूर करिएगा और नोटिफिकेशन विंडो को दबा के रखिए ताकि आपको नए नए वीडियोस मिल सके। शुक्रिया, धन्यवाद।